country. Okay, so then the government in the United States groups all these thousands and thousands and thousands of Somalis in one place over in, in Minnesota. Okay, she is elected their representative, right? We're not going to talk about all her irregularities, which are like crazy, marrying her brother. Okay, but when she goes to Congress, she's $40,000 in debt, but now she is worth $30 million. Corruption from the beginning, corruption to the end. Corruption is who she is.
So I'm just wondering which approach is better, to call upon those who disagree with you to come to open debate and dialogue, or to say that those who disagree with you and have a different worldview are full of shit?
So you must have selective hearing, sir, because I said that the people who were full of shit were the people who were saying that Kirk was civil.
Thank God. Yeah.
No, that's not true. The person who called for public execution of people he disagreed with is not civil. The person who said, if you are a black woman, you lack the ability to process thoughts, is not civil. The person who said, because I am Muslim, I cannot be in this country because I want to destroy Western society, is not civil. The person who said a 10-year-old should be forced to carry the child of her rapist is not civil. You
For me, is I feel embarrassed for him, because in these attacks, what he does, and I think with the likes of Nancy Mace and whoever that Randy guy is, they expose themselves for how stupid they are. And that is embarrassing for us as a country, because these are people who are elected to positions of leadership. He's supposed to be the president of the United States, who's heading off to Europe to represent us. When he does, he's uneducated enough to understand that members of Congress can't be impeached. You know, when you have Nancy and Randy saying, you know, we're on it, we're going to impeach her. When they're saying they're going to deport me, knowing full well that you cannot deport an American citizen. What that displays for not just Americans, but folks on an international platform, is that our country is being led by idiots. And that is not something that we should be comfortable with as Americans, and that's not something that should make us proud. And so in this moment, I feel great sadness as an American that these are the kind of people that the world gets to see representing us. So
what I do know for sure is that, you know, Charlie was someone who once said, you know, guns save lives. After a school shooting. Charlie was someone who was willing to debate and downplay the death of George Floyd in the hands of Minneapolis police.
I think he called him a scumbag.
Right, have no regard, downplay slavery and what Black people have gone through in this country by saying Juneteenth should never exist. And I think, you know, there are a lot of people who are out there talking about him just wanting to have a civil debate.
Complete rewriting of history.
Yeah, there is nothing more effed up, you know, like than to completely pretend that, you know, his words and actions have not been recorded and in existence for the last decade or so. And
Ilhan Omar, after his assassination, called Charlie Kirk a reprehensible human being. Should she be stripped of her community assignments?
I would say, I think she's a disgraceful person. You know, I think she's a disgraceful person, a loser. It's amazing the way people vote. I know it's people from her area, maybe of the world. I don't know. They got here and they vote her in. It's hard to believe, but I think she's a disgusting person.
And one more question, if I could.
Welcome to Truth with JJ Carrell. She is a disgusting person. Why am I playing Ilhan Omar? Because she's symbolic. She's symbolic of what's wrong with America. And what is wrong with America is we have sat by like impotent little lemons and allowed our nation to be flooded with third world savages. And then those third world savages prop up one of their own and they get into Congress, Senate, and then they begin to destroy our country. And what she wants to do has a profound impact on me. Don't tell me she just over Minneapolis and greater Minneapolis and has no effect on you. Oh, absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. I have someone in there that hates ICE, defund the police, all about race. Everything she does is for Somalia, that disgusting piece of trash country that if disappeared tomorrow, nobody would even notice. And I'm tired of this idea that it's okay to have foreign nationals in our houses of Congress and Senate. Don't like it. Don't want it. Our founding fathers never intended this to happen. They need to be expelled. I have a lot to say about this woman and what she said over this weekend about Charlie Kirk, about people saying that she needs to be deported. And let's start probably with the first part is, who is she? Well, she comes from the ruling class in Somalia that got kicked out of there because they were genociding their own people. Her father, can you go, Thomas, can you go to number 8 instead of number 7? Let's skip that idiot Mayor Fry for now, and let's go to number 8. It's just a X post. Yeah, how Snoops buried the truth about Ilhan Omar's father. I'm going to read just this one paragraph. In 2019, Snoops and PolitiFact debunked claims that Omar's father, Noor Omar Mohammed, was a high-ranking officer in Somalia's Marxist Bure regime, which invaded Ethiopia in the late 70s and was accused of genocide after massacring up to 200,000 people in the 80s. You could take that off, Thomas. That's who her family is. So she comes into power having $40,000 in debt, and now she's worth, in I think it's 6 years, $30 million. $30 million, and no one says a damn thing. All she did is she married some white guy that runs a political service, if you will, for lack of better terms. This is how it's all done. Is they make their husbands or wives their campaign managers. They pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars. They pump millions of dollars of your financial contributions. They pump it through their husband or spouse's political arm machine. They wash it clean, and then they have millions of dollars. And everyone's just sitting around going, well, that seems fair. How do you think Bernie Sanders has multiple homes, millions upon millions and millions of dollars? His wife runs his campaign out of an older home in Vermont with some other lady. I think she's paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then she gets bonuses, et cetera, et cetera. That's how he's worth millions of dollars over a 30 to 40-year career. Ilhan Omar is absolutely correct in one statement. She said, we are run by idiots. I absolutely believe that, 100%. I absolutely believe it, because only a group of idiots would allow Barack Obama to bring in tens of thousands of Somalis have absolutely no social, cultural, religious connection to the Western world. None. It's all warlords raping and pillaging, killing each other. They don't have running water. They're poor. They're a disgusting nation. And we're going to bring in tens of thousands of them? Who in God's name okayed that? And then you're going to take Somalians and put them in a cold, frigid Minneapolis? So much so that they call it Little Mogadishu? And what do? They all come together and they vote their own people in. I say this all the time when I'm going giving speeches. I said, do you think Minneapolis which was 99 something percent white, all of a sudden has city councils, chief of police, mayors, congressmen are all Somalians? You think that just happened? The Somalians are raping the state of Minnesota on one fraudulent charge after another, raping through the COVID, Medicare, Medicaid, you name the opportunity to steal, and the Somalians are stealing. And here's their leader, this woman with the dirty rag on her head, telling us that America sucks. You'd be eating dirt pies, sweetheart, if you were still back in Somalia, if you weren't strung up. Here's the thing she needs to understand too, and what she's nervous about. People that are born in America can never have their citizenship stripped. We own our citizenship. You, on the other hand, you are what is called a naturalized citizen, meaning you were not born here. You had to obtain your citizenship through naturalization, meaning we granted you the privilege. Now, if we can go back and find criminal activity, present or past, that is against the nation, we could revoke your citizenship and send you back to your nation of origin, which would be Somalia. Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? Let me read to you. This is straight off of Grok, and I know this. I just pulled it off of there because I've done this in my career. I know exactly what the revocation is, but I'm going to read it to you, okay? Just so everybody's clear that this woman can have her naturalization revoked and sent back to that third world piece of trash country called Somalia, where she can wear all the dirty rags on her head as she wants. In fact, she can drag her stupid white husband with her. Denaturalization, also known as revocation of naturalization, is the process by which the U.S. government revokes citizenship from a naturalized citizen. This applies only to naturalized citizens and cannot affect those born in the U.S. or who acquire citizenship at birth abroad, meaning military, embassy type. Now, I picked out one of the criminal convictions that we could use, or the government could use, to revoke her citizenship, and that would be treason. A conviction under 18 U.S.C. 2381, treason, punishable up to 7 years in prison or death, could lead to a denaturalization, particularly if it is revealed fraud in the naturalization process or demonstrates the citizen lacked attachment to the U.S. Constitution at the time of naturalization. Could we find treason through her own words, conviction, that all she does is she wants to better the nation of Somalia, and then go look at the bills that she tries to pass, the things she votes on, her what she's done in her community? Could we just try that? Could we, as the greatest nation on planet Earth, have a set of balls, have the determination, the conviction to look at somebody that should not be here and say, sweetheart, we've made a horrible mistake to allow you into America. We're going to deport your little tiny ass back to Somalia. And just do it. And just do it. Because we don't have the courage to do it. We'll continue to allow those type of people in our country to destroy our country. We are allowing the enemy to utilize our Constitution to destroy the United States of America. Not my words, theirs. Not just what I say. I'm almost verbatim using their own words. We are going to use their Constitution, their Bill of Rights, as the guidepost, the guiding principle to destroy their country. When does it come a time in American history where we're going to say the Constitution does not apply to you? You are not guaranteed these rights because you are a traitor. You have been proven to be a mole, a cancer that naturalized into America. And remove those people. And I believe with all my heart and soul, the day is today. The time is now. Every day that we do not act, every day that we do not purge our country of these people is one more day that we are hurtling to our death. I believe that. If you took that woman that weighs about 67 pounds with all the dirty rags on her head and threw her ass out of America, do you think America will be better or worse? After a week, would anybody even remember her? No, nobody would. Nobody would care. I believe a constitutional amendment needs to be made immediately. And that is barring all foreign nationals from being in our government. Ted Cruz, Canadian, gone. I don't care. He can go misquote scripture somewhere else. Don't need him. Gone. Anyone with dual citizenship, gone. How can you have dual citizenship and be a representative in our government? How? We're dying from within, people. We're dying from it. We're committing suicide because we don't have the courage to do what's needed to be done. We're allowing people, this is no longer, the other side is upset that we've cut welfare benefits down from, a decade or generational welfare that we're going to make you have to get a job. There's no more of that argument. That argument's not in. The argument now is America so evil that we have to overtake her and destroy her from the left, or should we white privilege and white supremacy? We got to kill and eradicate all the whites through bringing in millions and millions and millions of third world brown and black people to destroy America's demographics. Open borders, sexual perversion. Muslims by the tens of millions. And I'm supposed to sit here and act as if this is normal? I have to sit here and listen to Islamic leaders tell me that they're not subjected to the Constitution. They only go off of Muhammad and Sharia law. And once they have enough people, they will take us over and they will implement Sharia law. And I'm supposed to sit here and continue to say out loud, well, diversity is our strength. Diversity is our strength. You keep importing these third world savages into our country, and then they coalesce around one person to bring them up, and now they're in positions of authority, and I have to deal with that? Why? I never voted for this. I never voted for tens and tens of millions of illegal aliens from across the globe into my country, to where you take my race, you demonize me, you demonize white people, and then you begin to outbirth us, and then you begin to import people to destroy and water down my ability to have a voice in my country. And you want me to sit here and continue to state diversity is my strength? I'm not like those gutless white people in that church. I'm not. Those are horrific individuals. Older white people, the Karens. They're Karens and their husbands sitting there clapping. They allowed a woman, a Muslim woman with a dirty headscarf, to come into the houses of worship of Jesus Christ and begin to use vile language on the altar. And they stood up and clapped. I wonder if a white man like myself could go into a mosque and begin to demonize and use vile language about Muhammad and Islam, if I can make it out of there alive. But the opposite is we can allow a dirty, filthy Muslim woman to go in on stand on the altar of Jesus Christ Church and use vile language and slander us, and everyone claps. I don't know if we're ever going to get our country back. I'll be very honest with you. I don't. I'm going to give you an example of how far it's gone. Okay? Here is a traitor to his nation, and that is Mayor Fry, who's a disgusting individual of Minneapolis, crying on George Floyd's casket. He's kneeling, he's sobbing. He's sobbing so much that his body's starting to shake. He's sobbing over some guy that's has OD'd multiple times, put a gun to a woman's belly when she's pregnant, does home invasions, passes counterfeit bills across his city. George Floyd was a piece of human garbage, and our politicians love him. There's statues of that guy. You know what? When I say that out loud, you know what the first thing that pops up to my head? The cities are all burning down to the ground, right? We all remember that. Do you know what? It comes to my mind. You know what? We deserve it. We deserve it all. You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. We play in a stupid game. We've held up a degenerate in our society and made him a saint. Thomas, can you play this for me? This is number 7. Just play a minute of it, because I want you to hear this white man speaking the gutter language of Somalia and trying to win over votes, because he has to now, because there's no whites left in Minneapolis. It's all Mogadishus, whatever the hell they're called. Go ahead and play
Maaga Egawa Jacob Fry, Doke Magalada, Minneapolis. Damaan, Shaabka Somaliyed, Kayimid Mogadishu, Garowe, Hargeisa, Bosaso, Bedabo, Kismayo, Wahan Rabah, In An Idin Shego, Minneapolis, Wa Magaladina, Wahad Kamid Tihin, Laf Dabarka, Magaladan Ka Digesa, Boshado, Isku, Duban, Si Kasta U Madewen, Donald Trump U Su.
Okay, I can't even do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. Listen, look at that pandering piece of trash. He's so disheveled. His collar's out. Did anyone even stop and say, hold on a second, you look ridiculous, your collar's sticking out? He's probably tried this that was probably the 1,000th take, trying to speak that gutter language, trying to impress all of the Somalians. I mean, can you imagine? I can't imagine I'm running for office and my campaign guy comes and says, JJ, I need you to bend a knee and speak this gutter garbage language, because you've got to win. In order to win, you have to have all these Somalis. And I would say, okay, wait, all the Somalis that are Muslims and hate my nation and my savior, all those Somalians that hate me and my country, all those Somalians that have ravaged hundreds of millions of dollars stolen from our coffers, that group of people, you want me to speak that garbage language? Why? Well, you have to if you're going to win. I'll lose. This guy disgusts me, because he is everything that I can't stand. Everything I can't stand. Gutless, impotent beta males. This guy. Are we ever going to come out of this? Are we ever going to be a nation of strong men again? It almost seems like it's a pointless battle. My only hope, honestly, I have two hopes, okay? My first hope is that God has a revival. There's a revival for God, and it not the gay Christian, not the gay Christ, not the impotent, rosy cheeked God, not that Western European sissy Jesus. I call it the gay Christians, the gay Christ. Not my words. Other theologians and people that have gone over the series, I would say, of God, meaning the evolution of, God, a very strong, powerful being that judges and rains down judgment to a very impotent, kind of ambivalent. Oh, you want to be gay? You want to rape children? Okay, yeah, I'm sure we'll deal. Well, as long as you confess at the end and say that you love me, I'll bring you into heaven. And the rosy-cheeked, white, gay Jesus, I don't subscribe to that guy. I don't know who that guy is. That gay, impotent Jesus, I have no idea who that guy is. I have no connection to the Western European gay Jesus. I have none, zero. The Jesus that I believe in and follow, and the God that I follow, is the one that sent down his son. God sent down his son. You think God's going to send down some impotent looking gay Jesus? You really think that's the guy that he's going to send down representing him? That's what you think? The God that wiped away civilization multiple times? That God is going to send down a rosy cheek, no facial hair, long little curly locks, soft, not a muscle in his body. That's who's going to represent that God. Do you see how absurd that is when you just think about it in those terms? No, the guy that he sent down, his son, looks like the guy from the Shroud of Turin, a guy that walked over 20,000 miles in his lifetime. Think of that. Historically proven, he had to walk at least 20,000 miles. Totally shredded. About 5'10", 5'11", which was very tall in that time. About 185 pounds, which was heavy back then. Shredded. That long face of his, dark features. Dark beard. Strong nose and jawline and cheekbones. Like a man's man. A guy that would demand respect, that when he spoke, people listened to him. Do you think that people just would listen to some fairy walking around? Do you listen to little fairies walking around? People that look like Buttigieg? You know what? That's perfect. That just popped in my head. Pete Buttigieg, booty juice, as Biden used to call him. Booty juice he looks exactly like the European gay Jesus. His booty juice. Do you listen to anything that Booty Juice says? You think Booty Juice is going to turn over the tables in the temple and get all the goats and all the money changers out? You think they're going to follow Booty Juice? Well, that's the gay Jesus that we've been taught our whole entire life. Or the man that's depicted in the Shroud of Turin. That man, that guy would grab your attention. He walked into a room, even in today, people would stop and go, whoa, okay, who is that guy? And yet I have to listen to Mayor Fry. Minneapolis, you should be so ashamed of yourself. My sponsor of the show that I really respect is sat123.com. sat123.com. I had Chris from Sat123 on last week on Friday, and we talked about the shooting, Charlie Kirk shooting. And I know the premier thing, the premier item that they sell, which is, of course, is Sat phone. But for me, right now, is the item that they have that I plug all the time is a bulletproof backpack. Don't need it. I wonder if those 2,000 to 3,000 people thought, I don't know, why do I need a bulletproof backpack? I'm in a college campus. What the hell could go wrong? I wonder if those people was in Minnesota where the guy started shooting through the windows in the church. The little kids that are sitting there praying on the kneelers in Catholic Mass. I wonder if their parents that were at their jobs were thinking, well, why would my son and daughter need a ballistic backpack? You're walking through downtown anywhere. Why would I need a ballistic backpack? I'm not saying you walk around like you're a Border Patrol agent or a law enforcement guy with a vest. That would look kind of strange. We're going to get there soon. But what if you had a backpack that looked just like a Land's End, whatever backpack that's even better, durable-wise? My son's on his second year of this backpack. Second year. My son couldn't get through 8 to 9 months with a backpack without it just basically hanging on literally by a thread. And my son is safe. And my son has connectability with me as he's getting his driver's license. He has a sat phone. He can get a hold of me whenever. My wife can get a hold of me whenever. We can have a plan, a contingency plan of where we're going to meet. Boom, look for the sat. All the lines are down. Hey, son, Joseph, my wife. Hey, everybody understand? Same rendezvous point. I don't need to say it over the air. Same place, right? We're all going to this place. We all know where we're going. Yep, okay. It's going to take us each 15 minutes to get there. I will communicate back in 5 minutes. I'll call you on this. Don't worry about cell phone. Doesn't work. I have a sat phone. You think that's crazy? You think that's out of the realm of reality? Do you really? In this crazy ass world, do you think that's out of the realm of reality? Then you have not been watching, paid attention to anything. I'm not blackpilling you. I'm just telling you the straight up stone cold truth. You need to be prepared. You think times are bad now? You really do? You think it's going to get better? You think the evil demons on the left are just going to shoot and kill Charlie Kirk? You think that's it? You think that we're done? Go to sat123.com/JJ. Call the number on the screen. It'll be shock you. You'll get somebody from America that speaks English. I know that's incredible anomaly, incredible out of the box thinking for this company to have Americans answering the phone in America for Americans. I know it's unbelievable. Go to sat123.com/JJ and just get prepared. Yesterday, big day. I didn't watch football until the evening. I watched the Charlie Kirk memorial with my wife. I watched the speeches. There's a lot of things that not a lot of things. I didn't like all the flames and sparkles flying everywhere. That being said, there were some moving and powerful speeches. The most moving thing was a stadium packed with Christians. Packed. To look at a man's life and to say, wow, you packed a stadium, and an overflow of tens of thousands, millions of people, millions. They believe it's over 100 million streams downloaded the stream, attended your memorial. What a testament to that man's life. Look at the difference between what we've done. Nobody burnt any places down. Why is it that George Floyd and all the followers of George Floyd burnt everything down to the ground, raped people, killed people? Look at the difference between us versus them. Our side are Christians still trying to get some kind of olive branch. Still trying, even though I can't stand these Christians for doing this, I can understand on some level, they just want to reach out. Come on, please come to our side. Me, I'm the guy that's like, I would rather just kill them all. Kill them all of them. They're demons. If I own that business that's right there, all of them would be slaughtered. I wouldn't even hesitate. You're destroying my livelihood. You're trying to kill me and my family. I'm going to kill every single one of you savages. Donald Trump said something really impressive on the stage. He said, and I'm going to play this clip of Erica Kirk saying that she forgives the shooter. And I thought that was powerful. She is a better person than me. She just is. I'm going to just say it. She's a better person than me. And Donald Trump came out, obviously, after her and gave a speech. And he said, the difference between me and Charlie Kirk is right, that he prays for his enemies. He wants them to be okay. And he says, I'm different. I hate my enemy. And I don't want to give them any space, anything. I hate them. In a Christian world, that's not correct. We're not supposed to hate our enemies, we're supposed to love our enemies. But I fall on, and I do know that this is a problem, I fall on the side of that I hate my enemy. I just do. I hate them. I've said this many times. I've seen people that are horrific, that come, they see a light. Like they see the lies and they come and they're like, hey, I've made a horrible, horrible mistake. I chose the wrong side. I have no problem with that. Here you go. R10 is big. Come on. Come on. But I'm not going to fall into that lull of the gay Jesus that I'm supposed to sit here like a sacrificial lamb and let the wolves devour me. Because of what? Because of some teaching some televangelist came up with, or some teaching out of the Vatican that they've some person read scripture a different way and says that I have to do this. I have eyes, I have a brain, I can read scripture. There are some things that I have to read multiple times, but there's some things that are very, very clear. And I will follow that. I don't need a theologian to explain that to me. I see it very clearly. God didn't make the Bible where I have to have interpreters or some kind of special key code to figure out what the hell's being said. It's very plain language a lot of times. Here's what you need to do. Here are the 10 Commandments. Story after story after story of God and Jesus telling us to be courageous, to stand up, have some courage. Where is your sword? Are you going to protect your family? And Trump says it. I hate my enemy. Man, that's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one. How do you look at those demons? Like God says you're supposed to love your enemy, but you also have to understand that our enemy is Satan, and God never said to love Satan. God never told you to look Satan in the eye and say, I love you. Okay, go ahead and enter my body and take whatever you want. He never said that. And that's what the left is. The left are demons. I've said it multiple times. I'm never going to walk it back. I'm never going to walk it back. The left are demons. They are possessed. Watch them. Look at their faces. You're going to tell me that they are normal human beings? That something evil and vile has not entered their bodies and their minds? You're really going to try to sell me that? This isn't Jimmy Carter being a stupid peanut farmer that believes in horrible policy, right? These are demon-possessed people that want to kill babies. Not want to, they're killing babies. Like Moloch. It's evil. How can you not see it? How can you be so stupid? How can you be so indifferent to what's going on? I want to play a couple clips from yesterday's memorial. And I have to tell you, I'm going to always be honest with you. I get uneasy watching big groups of people praying. I get uneasy. I'm just going to tell you. Why? Even though it's beautiful, I'm not denouncing this at all. I just feel uneasy because I don't trust any of these people. I don't trust faith leaders. I don't. I think they're human and they're corrupted. I just do. So every time someone speaks or every time someone says something or okay, we're going to sing hymns and gospels and I know this is not the greatest thing, but I know it is built on years of experience that I immediately question who I'm listening to. Every single time, I immediately, because there are so many charlatans out there. There's so many people that distort, misquote, try to tell me about God, and instinctively I go, that ain't God. But there were some powerful people saying some beautiful things. And this man, Charlie Kirk, in 31 years, did more in 31 years than thousands of men's lives combined. My hope is that the people in that stadium and the millions, hundreds of millions, over 100 million people that watched it understand they have a role in this world, in this war. And prayer is just not going to be enough, because God does not want inactive people just sitting there praying. Yes, he wants your prayers, but he wants some freaking action. He gave you certain talents. Why don't you start using some of your talents? It's like, I want to be wealthy. Well, I'm going to kneel down in this pew and pray that I win the lottery. That's not how it works. I want justice, and I want to remove the chaos, and I want to remove the sexual perversion. Let me just sit here in church and pray ad nauseum, begging God to come back. How about you just realize that you have certain talents and then go exercise those talents to help eradicate evil? What if everyone watching Charlie Kirk's memorial said to themselves, I'm going to get involved. I'm going to get involved. Some of us are going to be more than others, but all of us are going to get involved. You're going to tell me that the United States of America wouldn't change overnight? Absolutely it would. Absolutely it would. Let's look in the first one. This is Tucker Carlson, number 9. Thomas, if you will.
Really saying is that change begins, the only change that matters, when we repent of our sins. Me. A recognition that the real problem is me and how fallen I am. And that was the reason that Charlie was fearless at all times, truly fearless to his last moment. He was unafraid, he was not defensive, and there was no hate in his heart. I know that because I've got a little hate compartment in my heart, and I would often express that to Charlie about various people, and he would always say, that's a sad person, that's a broken person, that's a person who needs help, that's a person who needs Jesus. He said that in private because he meant it.
I believe that. And I know that I have a compartment of hate in my body and my soul. I know I do. I know it's wrong. I hope these people change. But I also know God built certain people a certain way. And he didn't build me this way as a mistake. I will not believe that. He built me this way for a reason. Let's listen to why they killed Charlie Kirk. Listen to what Elon Musk said, and this is absolutely spot on.
Why was he killed?
He was killed because his words made a difference. Because he was showing people the light. And he was killed by the dark.
Thank you, sir.
Because his words, he brought light into the darkness. He did. He was a modern day evangelical, modern day St. Paul. Had an incredible way of remembering everything. He was just insane in the way that he could speak on things and remember quotes specifically. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. I want to play this, and it's a challenge from his wife, Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica. And it's a challenge to men. I found this very refreshing to hear from a woman talking about men. Men need to rise up and take on that masculine mantle and lead, be a leader. Watch this.
To all the men watching around the world, accept Charlie's challenge and embrace true manhood. Be strong and courageous for your families. Love your wives and lead them. Love your children and protect them. Be the spiritual head of your home. But please be a leader worth following. Your wife is not your servant. Your wife is not your employee. Your wife is not your slave. She is your helper. You are not rivals. You are one flesh working together for the glory of God.
It's a challenge to men. Be a protector, provider, and the spiritual head of your family. I think sometimes, for me, providing and protecting, that's an easy. I just feel like I can protect, can use a weapon, work out, so I know I'm physically ready to take on anybody, given that opportunity. I'm not afraid of hard work. The spiritual part is difficult, I will tell you that, because my initial reaction, as I've told you about my initial reaction to evangelicals, to my Pope, to the world, is to recoil, pull back, and watch with complete distrust of everything that they say. I sit in the pew on Sunday. I have a great priest, two priests that I really respect that are in my parish, but I sit there intently and listen to what they say. I don't want to be hoodwinked. I don't want them telling me something and if I don't believe it, then I want to go back and I want to fact check them. Isn't it a horrible way to have to live? That you can't trust anyone. You can't even trust your religious leaders. But what a fool you would be if you have any sense of history, why you would ever trust a man or men. Why? Why would you ever put all your trust into men? Why? I don't want you to trust me. I don't expect you to. I'd like you to fact check me to ensure that I'm saying the correct thing. I want you to listen to this take on Tucker Carlson had comparing what happened to Jesus, which happened to Charlie Kirk, which is very spot on. And then the Jews in Israel hated what Charlie Kirk was stating. But isn't it interesting how everyone hates the truth? Everyone hates the truth. Who killed Jesus? Well, the Pharisees, the Jews, did through the arm of the Romans. And because Carlson says this, that people wanted to shut Charlie Kirk up for the same reasons they wanted to shut Jesus up, because he was speaking the truth. Go ahead and play this.
Ultimately, he was a Christian evangelist. And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I could just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Everything is inverted.
It doesn't work that way. He's right. Let's kill Jesus. How'd that work for you, Satan? We're going to kill Charlie Kirk to shut him up. How's that looking right now? All of the leftist demons, they watched that yesterday, and they absolutely were telling one another, we misjudged. That great scene in Nefarious, the movie, incredible movie. Everyone should go out and watch it, where one of the demons, the main character, the demon, says, and I'm going to paraphrase, but he says, this was our greatest mistake. We misjudged killing the carpenter on the cross. It's our greatest mistake. Why was that his greatest mistake? Because his words lived on. He was able to fulfill the prophecies. He was able to show the world that he was God because he resurrected from the dead. What an incredible individual to carry God's words, Charlie Kirk. Unbelievable. He spoke with such clarity on so many issues. I'm very respectful of that ability that he had to just, without apology, speak the truth. He used to speak the truth about immigration, demographics, black on white crime, demonic forces within the party of the Democrats, the evil of abortion. It was impressive. And the people that came out and spoke, there were times, and there's not, these people, I don't agree with them. Probably a lot of the time I don't. Here's a man that I don't really agree with on much of anything until he became Secretary of State. And then he's had like a revival, if you will, into conservatism, but I don't believe it's fully rooted. But in 90 seconds, Marco Rubio lays out the story of salvation perfectly. Play this, please.
One of the things he wants us to take away from this, from all of this, is the following. His deep belief that we were all created, every single one of us, before the beginning of time, by the hands of the God of the universe, an all-powerful God, who loved us and created us for the purpose of living with him in eternity. But then sin entered the world and separated us from our Creator. And so God took on the form of a man and came down and lived among us. And he suffered like men. And he died like a man. But on the third day he rose unlike any mortal man. And to prove any doubters wrong, he ate with his disciples so they could see, and they touched his wounds. He didn't rise as a ghost or as a spirit, but as flesh. And then he rose to the heaven, but he promised he would return, and he will. And when he returns, because he took on that death, because he carried that cross, we were freed from the sin that separated us from him. And when he returns, there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and we will all be together, and we are going to have a great reunion there again with Charlie and all the people we love. Thank you, and God bless you.
That was perfect. I want to play a next video. Just if you could just play it, I can talk over it if we could, Thomas. I want you to understand the left. The left is a dead party. The Democrats are dead men walking. You cannot look at, if you can pull this up, this number 14, yeah. When you look at that, Ilhan Omar, AOC, Bernie, Chuck Schumer, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, any of those people die? You think they're going to have a stadium filled? Anybody that is eligible for any type of political office, leadership position, anybody have this type of power? Anybody? They are a dead party. They are becoming increasingly irrelevant to the point that nobody wants to hear a damn thing that they have to say. They are vile, they are disgusting, and they are anti-American demons. And I don't think I could state that clearly enough. But I want to end the show. It's a minute 43 seconds. I just want to end the show, and this is Erica Kirk talking about love and forgiveness. And I just want to give her the last 2 minutes of the show and listen to what this very strong, beautiful woman is talking about, stating. Go ahead and play this, please.
That young man on the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man, I forgive him. I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do. The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love. Love for our enemies and love for those who persecute us.
Welcome to Technocracy News with your host, Patrick Wood. I'm your co-host, Logan House. Today we have, will the next first turning be Technocracy? Business Insider has a piece out. Fact check your AI stories or else. And we have a flashback from 2007 that Patrick wrote, Global Banks Adopting Islam. And then lastly, related to that, Own Nothing, the Great Islamic Finance Convergence. Patrick, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm relaxing, by the way, in Northern California on a cattle ranch. It's a wonderful experience, but there's no traffic. You can't hear anything in the country, and the cows are mooing and the birds are chirping and everything is happy.
Well, that sounds nice. I'm jealous.
It really is. So this is a switch for me for sure.
Yeah. I bet is it, I guess it's probably pretty hot there too. Just about as hot as it.
It's not too bad. I think it's about 95 degrees today. That's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty normal for you, huh? Being in Arizona.
Yeah.
Well, this first story is, will the next first turning be to Technocracy? And this is by Stephen Yates.
It is. Stephen Yates is an old friend of mine, believe it or not. I mean, talking probably 20 years ago. He's a PhD philosopher, and he moved from the United States to Chile, I believe it was, and he found a bride down there, and he's been basically, I think it's South America ever since. But he wrote this great story, and this is the story. This is the second story that I've posted on this topic. What comes next? What are we staring into the face of at this point? The question is, everybody, there's a consensus that the Great Reset is basically killing old style globalization. And, out with the old and new, in with the new. The question is at this point, what is the new going to look like, right?
Yeah.
So people have been talking about these four turnings of society. I won't go through them all, but there's a first turning through four. We're in the fourth stage right now, where there's basically going to be mass destruction. Somehow, maybe it's going to be a collapse of unemployment. Maybe it's going to be a war. Who knows? But it's going to be messy. So people are talking about we're in this stage now called the fourth turning, but that's really not what we need to be looking at this point. What Steve is saying in this article is that we should be focused on the next turning. That's the phase that we're moving into now, and almost certainly it's going to be technocracy. I've been saying this for many years. This just is kind of recasting the concept. This is what we're looking at, and this is the concern that people have. I think, well, certainly we do. This is basically the beast system that's being created right before our eyes, with AI, with all the micromanagement, surveillance, et cetera, like that, stuff like that. So. This article really did a great job just explaining what is the first turning and why it's going to be technocracy.
Yep, and you can read it over at technocracy.news, technocracy.news. Do you want to jump over to the Business Insider?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Fact check your AI stories or else. Journalists at Business Insider are officially green-lighted to use AI to write stories, but they will own whatever they publish under their own name. So they're going to start using AI to basically do all the work for them, and they're just going to have to go over and check. If not, if the AI gets it wrong, then they're going to be the ones getting in trouble.
You would think that would be the case. Business Insider, it's a huge publication at this point. They're the first major publication that's published formal rules for the use of AI. And I can understand that the journalists at BI would be concerned. They knew this was happening. They knew it was coming. And I'm sure they were all antsy because most of them probably have already dabbled with AI, if not outright using it to write articles. But at this point, the guidelines for them, this is what I take away from it in any case. If you're going to use AI, that's just a tool. If you're going to use it, however, you better double check your references, double check all your facts, and if you inadvertently put something under your name and we publish it, you're going to be in big trouble, For instance, if you get something wrong, if the AI hallucinates and just makes stuff up, this has happened many times, you're going to pay for it. And I kind of like that idea, but we'll see. At this point, at least the journalists have guidelines in place on how to use AI effectively. For research, perhaps, maybe writing the first draft of a story, something like that. But they better be very careful when they publish something under their name. And basically what they're saying is, you own it. Yeah. They want you to own the thing. They want your head into the article, not just taking what AI said.
And also is making sure that their employees are actually working and not just getting AI to do all their work and they're publishing without checking anything.
I know. I've heard stories, by the way, of people who were actually working 2 or 3 jobs. Yeah. Where they're using AI to speed up their work so they can actually juggle 3 jobs at the same time.
And these would probably be remote jobs, right?
Exactly. Yeah. They're not telling their employers that they have other jobs. And so, they're switching during the daytime, 2 hours here, 2 hours here, 2 hours there, and they're making up a whole day. And they're billing. However, they're employed by all these people. Yeah. That's kind of funny in a way because, if they get caught, they're going to be in big trouble. But this is the AI age, so we have to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess if you can if you can pull it off, then good on you, right?
Well, I guess, but it's disingenuous to me. It's not theft. Theft isn't the word, but obviously it's gaming the system in a way that's immoral. Because if you're charging somebody for 8 hours of work, but you're only doing that work in 2 hours, somebody's getting cheated. Yeah. Most employers want your head in the game. They pay for your brain to do stuff. And if you don't give them 8 hours, then they should be upset, I think. I would be upset if I knew an employee did that for me.
For sure. For sure. Well, here we go to the big topic for today. Flashback 2007, you wrote an article, Global Banks Adopting Islam. And this was this is almost 20 years ago.
It was 18 years ago. I can't believe that this article came out of my head. And there was no AI back then, for sure. But I wrote this article. I don't even remember what spurred me to write it in the first place. Maybe I was talking to somebody like an Islamic scholar or something that triggered me. But I did a lot of research to put this article together in the first place. I had to study how the banking system was wanting to interface with Islamic world. And then I had to figure out what makes Islamic finance tick in the first place, so-called Sharia law. Mm-hmm. And so that was unfamiliar to me at that point. And that was after 9/11, by the way. And you might remember that most of those hijackers of those planes, et cetera, were all from Saudi Arabia. This kind of ties into our story here because Saudi is big time in Sharia finance. So the question is, that people are asking, what really is Sharia law or Sharia finance in the first